Primetime local news, serving the Lakeland and Midwest regions.
Good evening and welcome to Primetime Local News. Saskatchewan is reporting 4 new cases of COVID-19, 1 in the Saskatoon zone, 3 in the South Central zones, bringing the provincial total to 1,590. 149 cases are considered active, 5 people are in hospital, 4 of those in intensive care, and a total of 1,419 people have recovered. City Council has approved the Olive Tree property tax exemption on their new reclaimed store. Eric Bay has more on the decision.
The city changed its non-profit organization property tax application to a yearly application process, which caused a problem for the Olive Tree. The reclaimed store didn't open until March, which meant missing the September 2019 application deadline.
In this case, because the Olive Tree expanded their services, which was terrific to see in our community and aid a need from the perspective of being able to repurpose materials as well as support their organization, it was a perfect fit. If they wouldn't have done this a year or two ago, it would have went into the 3-year exemption and we wouldn't have seen it.
The reclaimed store repurposes materials and also offers programming for people to learn new skills.
We saw it as an opportunity that we could provide another service within Lloydminster. We don't really have a lot of room in the store left, so it was a great chance to do that.
The mayor called the exemption a straightforward decision for council to make.
This was something that had been on the drawing board, I understand, for some time, and they were able to get it off the ground, and I'm really excited about that because it filled a void in our city after Restore left a number of years ago. People had often asked me, where can we readdress building materials that can be reused, or any materials, rather than diverting them to the landfill? We now have an alternate source.
The reclaimed store reopened in May after being closed because of COVID. Eric Bay, Primetime Local News.
Throughout the COVID-19 pandemic, a lot more people have been taking part in do-it-yourself projects. One event that has been popular is the Cheesery's You Pick Sessions, which gives people the chance to create their own flower bouquets. This is the second year the Cheesery is offering the You Pick Sessions. They saw good success last year and decided to offer it again.
We tour 2 gardens or 3, depending if I've got enough flowers in the 3rd garden, we walk over to that one. And you spend about half an hour doing the tour, and I explain how to cut the flowers, where to kind of cut them. Some flowers require maybe a different stage of cutting versus the other ones, so we kind of go through that. And I explain a little bit how to pick maybe the flowers in terms of the colors schemes that you want to do.
The idea for the You Pick Sessions came to Rhonda when she was traveling and saw the creativity that could come from different flowers.
I had gone to BC to a wedding and saw all the local flowers that were grown there for this wedding, and was really surprised at what you could grow. So that really piqued my interest, and so I started growing the flowers. And I had been talking with some flower growers from Saskatchewan, and they started to do U-picks. And so I thought, what a great way to share the flowers with a lot of people. And it's a really great experience to be able to come out and walk amongst all the flower beds.
So far, the U-Pick sessions have been quite popular, and because of that, they are offering multiple sessions throughout the week.
The U-picks run about 3 days out of the week. I kind of base them dependent on the weather and the flower production. So I mean, as long as the flowers are still producing well, it'll be 3 days a week until freeze up, which hopefully will, get us into the 2nd week of September. And as well, I plan to do a couple workshops coming up as well, probably into September, later August. I will be posting those up if they become available on the website and on Facebook and Instagram as well.
Each session brings out tons of people who have new and different ideas for their bouquet, which Rhonda finds to be quite refreshing.
It's amazing what they all come up with because it's so different. I mean, the flowers are, there's kind of the same flowers throughout, maybe the different colors, but the color schemes that they come up with, it's inspirational for me what I see them doing, because I kind of have my own color schemes always in my head, but to see what these people are creating, and it's not, you don't have to be some big flower lover or a florist person, like it's anybody and everybody that comes out.
If you are looking for more information on the U-Pick sessions, visit the Cheesery's Facebook page or website. Now we're on our channel, take a look at your weather forecast.
All right, thanks very much, Jasmine. Take a look at right now, cloud coverage right now sitting at 22 degrees. Of course, many of us woke up this morning around that 6:30 a.m. range to hear all that massive thunderstorm we did here this morning. Lots of rain as well, and those thunderstorms could continue on into tonight and even heading into tomorrow with some showers as well. Definitely woke myself up there with very loud crackles of thunder and lightning early in the morning. But taking a look at temperatures around other areas right now, 25 degrees in Vermilion with 24 in Vegreville and St. Paul, 23 out in Edmonton right now, and 25 up in Bonnyville and Cold Lake. Down in those Provost Macklin areas, they're still sitting in the high 20s there at that 27 in Provost and North Battleford, and then Macklett's sitting at 29 degrees. Maidstone sitting at 24, St. Walburg and Meadow Lake both sitting at 25 with 27 degrees up out in Green Lake. Now here's a look at the satellite radar map. We could see some cloud coverage there, and then as well as more rain expected coming in from that southern western areas coming up towards that Edmonton area, and it could make its way into that Lloydminster area fairly soon into the evening, and we could see that overnight tonight as well as into tomorrow. So taking a look at North Battleford overnight, cloud coverage there at 16 degrees. With tomorrow, a little bit of sun and 22 degrees as we start to cool off just a little bit, but nothing too dramatic there. But taking a look at Cold Lake, 13 degrees overnight with some showers going into tomorrow, 21 degrees with some showers as well. And then for us here in Lloydminster, I did mention we could possibly see those thunderstorms continue on from overnight tonight into tomorrow with some showers as well, with a daytime high of 18 as we are getting a little bit cooler here in the next couple of days here. But as we take a look at the 3 days here, we will warm up by Saturday. Taking a look at Saturday, at that high of 21 degrees with that low of 14. And we have another cooler morning on Sunday with some cloud coverage there on Sunday, but still have a high of 23 degrees. Of course, this weekend is Ribfest. If you want to go out and grab some great food, they of course are going to be operating at the Lloyd X, so it should be good weather to go out and grab some food nonetheless. But that's a first look at your weather forecast. We'll have more primetime local news after this.
Welcome back. SAS Power is reminding customers to watch out for power lines this harvest as collisions between agriculture equipment and power lines increase during harvest. Jace Mackey spoke with Scott McGregor from SAS Power to find out more.
I'm joined today by Scott McGregor from SAS Power. We're going to be talking a little bit about a message that SAS Power put out to consumers, basically telling them to look up when they're out harvesting coming up this time of year. Thanks for taking some time to talk with me today, Scott.
Thanks for having me.
So just starting off, can you just tell me just a little bit about the message that SAS Power has to its consumers?
Yeah, so during there's two seasons that we typically see an increase in farming incidents and coming into contact with our power lines and power poles. The first, is seeding and spraying in the spring, and then as the season that we're in right now, harvest season. You typically see contacts during harvest, during the fall. And that's just, by virtue of there being, a lot of people out in the fields operating large equipments, transporting from field to field. And we just want to make sure that everyone, takes the amount of time that they need, be safe, know how big your equipment is, get as much help as you can to help guide you around that power infrastructure.
So I saw in the press release that since January, there was around 200 incidents of equipment coming in contact with power lines and stuff like that. How costly is that to SAS Power when those kind of incidents happen?
Well, it's one of those things. Last year, it cost us in the neighborhood of about $650,000, and that's for for the labor to repair the damage, for the materials, and so on. It's definitely not insignificant. But the real importance of this message is the safety aspect of it. Coming into contact with a power line, it's extremely dangerous. More often than not, thankfully, we don't have many injuries or anything reported to us, but the risk and the hazards are definitely there. And so we want to make sure that everyone takes the right amount of time, knows how big their equipment is, and gets home safe tonight.
And so what would be some tips that SAS Power would have for farmers and producers in Saskatchewan when they're out on their field to make sure that they're not coming in contact with those lines?
Good question. No, we recommend a number of things. One of the most important things that if it's possible to do so, we understand some farming outfits are a bit on the smaller side, and so having hired hands or extra bodies is kind of tricky. But one of the real important tips is to have a spotter. You know, that extra set of eyes on the outside of your equipment. It's extremely valuable to get that extra, you know, set of eyes on your equipment. Another thing is, you know, map your route out ahead of time. If you know that there's going to be power lines between where you are and where you're going to be, you know, just be aware of those and to take extra caution when navigating around them. If you can't, you know, fit your equipment underneath any power lines, give us a call. We'll send a crew out to temporarily move those power lines so that you're able to get to work.
And if someone ends up coming in contact, unfortunately, with power lines, what should they do? What should be their kind of first steps?
The very first thing you should do is remain in your vehicle, if it's safe to do so, obviously. If it's safe to do so, stay in your vehicle, give us a call, or call 911, whichever, you know, you're able to do. I mean, our number is 310-2220. If you can't remember that, 911. You know, you don't know what conditions exist outside of your vehicle. So, you know, remain safe. If it's safe to do so, remain in your vehicle, give us a call. We'll come send a crew out to make sure that the area is safe.
And just before we go, is there anything else you want to add?
You know, we don't. We just want to remind everyone to take it very careful out there. You know, farming it involves a lot of large equipment, and you know, sometimes, you know, people don't realize how big they are. Maybe they're working their 14th or 15th hour. You know, just slow down, take a bit of extra time to make sure that you're getting home safe tonight.
Well, thanks for taking some time to talk to me today, Scott McGregor from Sask Power. We're hoping that there'll be fewer incidents this year, because of the cost, and also to keep people safe.
Definitely. Thank you for having me.
Now we'll take a look at your egg prices. In this week's Around the AJHL, Evan Kenny sits down the future Arizona State University defenseman and former Spruce Grove Saint Tanner Hickey.
On this week's edition of Around the AJHL, joining me is a one-time AJHL champion, as well a defenseman who just finished up this past season at the University of Alabama, Huntsville, playing with the Chargers, Tanner Hickey. Tanner, thank you very much for joining me. My first question for you is, when you played in the AJHL, how did you get started playing with the Spruce Grove Saints?
Well, my brother played there when he was 16 and 17 years old, and they kind of showed interest in me ever since. So it was kind of an easy decision for me to make.
And now jumping into the league at the same time as you was a number of other 99-born defensemen, all playing for the Spruce Grove Saints with you. What was it like just joining the league with these handful of guys and developing together?
Yeah, I really do. Like, we all obviously entered at the same time, and just to see us from our year 1 to our year 3, just the way we developed and all fed off each other. And that was just the core group of guys definitely kind of revolved around us in our later years, and it was awesome. And it's just the friendships gained from that too is incredible.
Now, Tanner, from 2010 up until last season, the Spruce Grove Saints were only one of 2 teams who have won the AJHL championship. What was it like joining that atmosphere, and what was that like for your skill development?
Yeah, it was awesome. It was new, and just kind of knowing that you're expected to win there was huge. And you know, obviously we made it to the finals twice. We were fortunate to win once, and it was just incredible. It was huge for my development, and especially like our coach Bram Steven, he was huge on a culture and having a winning culture, and just kind of the the mindset that champions do more, and if you want to win, you're gonna have to put in extra work, and that's kind of stuck with me, and it will stick with me through the rest of my life.
Now, rather than playing your 20-year-old season in the AJHL, you decided to make that step up and play in the NCAA. What was this like, just the skill change and making that jump up?
Yeah, it was quite the jump, like just seeing how big everyone was, and not only that, like everyone, they love to work hard here, and they love to just hound pucks, and they're physical, but like I like the AJ was a pretty physical league, so like no one's going out of your way to run you over here, but still just it's a little more tiring just because they love to battle and in the corners and stuff. But as for skill wise, like it was manageable for sure. Like obviously, like there's top end tier skill here, and that definitely was a little new, but it was manageable for sure.
Tanner, playing in Northern Alabama, it's not really the hockey hub of the world. You had to travel up to different places like Alaska, North Dakota, Minnesota, just to name a few. What was that like being a 20-year-old playing in college and having to travel that much?
Yeah, that was definitely one of the worst parts for sure, was our travel. And we traveled by bus a lot, so we'd have like 16-hour bus rides, and we did have a sleeper bus, but it didn't have enough beds, so guys would be sharing. I know I was on the floor a couple times, and it's it like that part sucked because you'd miss a lot of school too. Like we'd leave like Wednesday, so I'd usually miss my Wednesday night class, and then Thursday classes I'd miss, and then we wouldn't get back till Sunday. But I mean, we got to fly a good amount too. So, I mean, hard to complain when you're playing there. So,
Now, there was a little bit of a scare right after COVID. It was announced that due to a lack of funding, the University of Alabama, Huntsville, the Chargers men's hockey team was not going to happen this upcoming season. It left a lot of players like yourself in a world full of doubt. What was it like being one of those players, and just take me through your situation?
yeah, honestly, it came out of nowhere. Like, we didn't hear anything throughout the whole season with anything being canceled or anything like that. And all of a sudden, we just had a team meeting one day, like team Zoom call, and they just said due to lack of funding, we're shut down. So it was a mix of emotions for sure, because at that point, like no one had a team to go to, and I was just kind of a more or less a free agent, and hopefully, then like then not sure, quite sure who's going to reach out to me and what's going to happen now. So yeah, but they said it was like due to obviously COVID or something to do with that, but who knows if it was or wasn't.
Luckily for yourself, you were able to be picked up by the Arizona State University Sun Devils. So you're going to a great program there. Tanner, thank you very much for joining me, and best of luck this upcoming season.
Now our Connor and Chan will take a look at your weather forecast.
All right, thanks very much, Jasmine. Taking a look at temperatures. Oh, we're starting in the north here, but as I switch back there, I apologize there. But taking a look right now, Lloydminster 22 degrees right now, with Edmonton also sitting at that 22-degree mark, as they are experiencing possible some more thunder showers up in that Rocky Mountain House area, as well as up in the northern areas there. They are under, there's some areas right now that are under a severe thunderstorm watch up in the north there. So 19 degrees out in Edson, 21 for Jasper, 18 in Whitecourt. Over into the Saskatchewan areas right now, 27 in North Battleford, 31 for Saskatoon, 26 out in Prince Albert, and 25 for Meadow Lake. Now taking a look into the northern areas right now, 23 in Fort McMurray, LaLoche, Buffalo Narrows, 25 for La Ronge, 20 degrees up in Wollaston Lake, Uranium City and Stony Rapids, and Fort Chipewyan all sitting at 17 degrees, with Flin Flon sitting at 27 right now. Taking a look over into northern Alberta, still a little bit cooler, sitting on that Grand Prairie, 15 degrees right now, 19 in High Level, and 17 degrees also out in Peace River. Now, as we take a look at the southern areas right now, they are still fairly warm despite some of the weather that we are seeing up here in the Midwest region. 27 in Lethbridge, 31 degrees right now in Medicine Hat, with 24 degrees in Calgary and 23 in Banff. Coronation not far behind there, sitting not far from 30 degrees, sitting at 27. As we look over into southern Saskatchewan, all in the 30-degree marks there. 34 in Swift Current, Moose Jaw, Regina, and in Estevan, and then Yorkton and Kindersley, both sitting at 30 degrees. Now let's take a look across the rest of the country. Regina is seeing some showers right now, despite having that 34-degree temperature right now. 32 in Winnipeg with some cloud and sun mix there. Toronto sitting at 26 degrees right now. Quebec City at 18 with cloud coverage. St. John sitting a little bit of sun with some clouds there. And then 22 degrees out in Halifax. Over in Vancouver, 22 degrees with some cloud coverage. Edmonton also sitting at some cloud coverage as well. They could see some more showers coming in their way, as well as us here in Lloydminster. 15 out in Yellowknife with 14 degrees out in Whitehorse. Now as we look at temperatures, what we could see tomorrow, the showers that are coming from overnight tonight could carry on into tomorrow. So we will have a fairly cooler day as we are just shy of the 20-degree mark, sitting at 19 degrees with 19 degrees in Vermilion and Maidstone, 20 for Vegreville, and 22 degrees in Edmonton. Bonnyville, Cold Lake, and Pierceland tomorrow sitting at 21 degrees along with Provost. Macklin at 23 degrees we'll see for tomorrow, and then 22 in North Battleford with 17 in St. Walburg, and then 18 degrees in Green Lake and in Meadow Lake. Now, as we take a look at the next 7 days here, 19, there we go, 42% chance we could see some of those showers coming back for tomorrow. 22 degrees on Saturday as well as on Sunday. So nice weather if you are going to go out to Ribfest this weekend down at the Lloyd X, which starts at 11 a.m. tomorrow. So it should be great weather nonetheless for some great food. And then 24 on Monday as we get a little bit clearer and a little bit warmer, but we'll still be in just those low 20s there for the next couple of days there after that. 22 on Tuesday, and then 20 degrees on Wednesday, and 21 on Thursday, where we all could see 3 of those days could see a 30% chance of some showers. We are starting to see a little bit of a drop in our averages for our daytime low as we are starting getting into late August here, heading into the fall here. So we could see a little bit cooler mornings in the over the next several days and weeks here. But that is a look at your 7-day forecast. We'll have more primetime local news coming up after the break. Well, joining me today is Claire Kumar. She is a productivity expert. She joins me from Toronto. Claire, I know for parents and students, they choose to learn from home because of COVID-19, and some continue to also work from home as well. So what's the best piece of advice that you can give to both parents and students when it comes to staying organized?
One of the first things is figuring out where you're going to work, and our spaces are really under a lot of pressure now, right? With sometimes if there are 2 parents in the house, not often both are working from home, and then all the kids need a good study space too. So that one home office that we had potentially working for us, if we were lucky enough to have that, is a really coveted spot. So one of the first things to do is, I encourage people to do a task audit per person. And so that means understanding just what each person needs to get done, figuring out whether you're consuming information, you're creating new work, or you're collaborating with other people, because all of those different kinds of tasks drive the technology and your furniture choices as well.
What's sort of the one thing that we tend to forget when it comes to working or studying from home?
I think, well, it's generally in life as a worker, we sometimes we forget we're animals. And so we hear about the herd immunity, so we're reminded we're animals, and we need to think about that, because the way we interact with our environment and with each other, when it comes to the ergonomics in the office, when it comes to managing attention and needing to take a break, so we can keep thinking, managing distractions, all of those things. If we remember we're animals, not robots, and really cater to taking care of ourselves, we will be far more productive than if we think we can just keep pushing through.
You mentioned minimizing distractions. What are some of the best things we can do to not only minimize those distractions, but also minimize them and also increase our productivity?
Well, get rid of all the notifications for anything that you're going to think about anyway. So I've asked a room full of people, is there anyone here that would forget to check email? And of course, not one hand went up. So do you need a notification for email? Probably not. For apps and so on, the first thing they want to do is infiltrate your consciousness. So they will try and get you to allow notifications. And so that's the first barrier. The second thing you can do to help preserve is communicate your availability, and don't believe that you have to be always on. I encourage people to preserve 2 90-minute work blocks, deep focused work blocks where there are no interruptions. If you're working at home with kids and you want to put a sign on the door, if you're lucky enough to have a door, or you have a code, or you're wearing something. One of my teacher friends, she had a hat on, and you could ask her a question when she had the hat on. If she didn't have the hat on, it was don't bug teacher time. So there are all kinds of ways to send cues to other people to let them know whether you're inviting interaction or not.
You know, a lot of us have been working or studying from home for the last couple of months because of COVID. And for some parents heading into the new school year, they are possibly going to be playing the role of teacher, as some parents did opt to homeschool their kids. So what would you say to those people who are going to be facing new challenges at home, whether it is going to be through homeschooling or even just students or parents that continue to do their day-to-day school or work life at home?
Well, I think this is talking about the human animal piece of it as well, is allow yourself to create the kind of schedule for your day that's really going to work for you. Teenagers, I don't know if anybody out there has a teen, you'll know that their clock is naturally switched to be a little bit later. I would love to see the in portion, if kids are going to school for teenagers, be in the second half of the day, not the first, because their natural clock is to start around noon, be active in the afternoon, and then do their quiet work in the evening, and even their socializing. So know when you work best, and then architect your day. And then also you might be better able to share those coveted workspaces in your home.
And lastly, Claire, is there anything else that you would like to add?
Yeah, there's one last point, and this is about, so number one was do a task audit and then think about your posture and the ergonomics. The last point is really understanding your preferences for your environment so that you can focus. So it can be really worthwhile too, spending some time on organizing the space so you dial down visual clutter if that's something that's going to be a visual distraction, and then using headphones. I have a pair here, actually, I can show you as well. This is really cute. This is a pair for kids. And what I like about it is it's capped out at 85 decibels so that there's no hearing loss. So creating a soundscape and a visual scape that's going to promote your focus. And you can find a lot of really affordable pieces, ways to create desks, and then ways to organize them, and ways to block out noise from staples.ca.
Well, Claire, I really appreciate your time, and thank you very much for joining us today.
My pleasure. Good luck, everybody.
Furniture set and design supplied by Furniture Gallery and Furniture House, downtown Lloydminster.
Speaking with me today is Laurelie Nairn, a local resident who has started a little library called the Sweet Pea Library. How are you today?
The sun is shining, we had a nice refreshing rain, and I'm out here beside our very special project, so my cup is full.
Can you explain where this little library is located? Like, this is in your backyard?
Yeah, it's our backyard, and we back onto the Messam Lake walking path. And so if you come to Messam Lake, that's west of Home Hardware, you'll find a walking path, and we're just along that path.
Okay, and when did this idea start, and how did you get this idea for the Sweet Pea Library?
So a couple of years ago, we started to think about how could we engage with our community, get to know our neighbors a little bit better. And I had seen on Instagram these little free libraries around the world. And there's one down the road in Vermilion that's been there for a long time. So I started to research that a little bit and thought that would be, we had the perfect location. It would be a great way to give back to community.
And how does the system work for people to be able to take out books at this library?
So we've had quite a few friends who have donated books to us. So we have a really good stock already started. And so we've stocked the library, but people can just pass by, look through the books, pick something that they like and take it home to enjoy. And if they want to at some point donate a book, they're welcome to do that, but there's no obligation for them to.
Have you received lots of support already for this Sweet Pea Library from residents?
It's been a little incredible because every day I come out a couple of times a day and check the library, and there's always books that have been taken and one or two books added. So we're averaging about 10 or 15 books going out every day and about the same amount coming back. So very cool that people are using it.
It's very nice to know, actually. And what kind of books do you actually have inside this little Sweet Pea Library? Can you kind of explain a bit more on what kind of genres?
Yeah, so we have books for everyone. There's adult books. We have some new kind of professional development books that have been donated to us. Lots of books for little people and middle readers. We have a lot of books for middle readers at ages 3 to 6. A small collection of books for teens. So we're kind of scanning people when they come. Who are the authors that they love to read? What kinds of books do they like? And so we're starting to build the collection based on what people are taking and using and what people are telling us that they'd love to see. One thing that we don't have is large print books, but there's been a request for that. So I'll be searching out for some large print books to add to the library.
And why do you believe it's important to have the Sweet Pea Library for the community?
So it does a couple of things. First of all, we have a love of reading in our family. My husband and I love to read, and we raise kids that love to read. And we just think that that's an important skill for life because it always takes you to another world. You have new learning experiences, and it's really positive for your mental well-being. The other thing is that we get to connect with community. And so we are able to talk with our neighbors. We've had so many rich conversations over the back fence or out here by the library. We've met many people in the community that we haven't had an opportunity to meet before. And so I think it's just more around getting to know who are the people in your neighborhood. What kinds of things do they love to do? And they're sharing their stories with us when they come by as well. And I love that.
And do you have any future plans ready for the library?
So we host the library, but really it's owned by the community. And so we'll really listen to what the community wants the library to be. And, but I told my husband that already we're thinking about building a second one or a larger one so that we can have a larger collection of books because the interest has been so great. So maybe in the future, we'll have a library for little people that's a little bit lower, and we'll house all these books for children in it so they can get in there and take a good look at them themselves.
Well, perfect. Thank you so much for joining me today, Lorley, and I wish best of luck to the Sweet Pea Library. I think it's going to be very successful, and I'm sure the community loves it, and I'm going to probably check it out myself soon here.
I hope you do. And so you can follow us on Instagram at the Sweet Pea Library, and also you can find us on the map at littlefreelibraries.org.
All right, taking one last look here at your weather forecast. We could see some showers later tonight and then carry over into tomorrow with a high of 19 degrees, as well as heading into Saturday, 22 degrees as well for Saturday and on Sunday as well. 24 also for Monday as well with a high of 22 and a high of 20 on Wednesday and high of 21 on Thursday.
Thanks for joining us on Primetime Local News. Have a great night.